Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Books with Beth X here. I hope you're doing very well on this sunny Monday. It's very cloudy out, it looks awful out. As you can see by the title, as always, this is my September TBR and it feels like, I don't know if it was saying for anyone else, but August has flown by and it feels way too early to be filming this, but it is the 28th today. I'm posting this on the same day that I'm filming. And it just doesn't, it feels too early to be planning this, and there's still books I want to finish reading in August that I haven't got to yet, which I've got like, what, 3 days now to read them in, but we'll see if that happens. But some of those may be making a sort of reappearance in this just because I haven't got around to them yet, but then maybe I have read them in time. Wait for my wrap up, that'll be next weekend. Hopefully I'll have read them in that time. But this is going to be a very exciting month because I'm finally going on an all-inclusive summer holiday where I can do nothing but read, which means that this TBR is going to be massive. It's going to be a substantial one. Obviously, I'm not going to take loads of physical books away with me. I am taking a few. So you got to keep watching to find out what those are. And, excitingly, I also got accepted for my first ever NetGalley ARCs. I got accepted for 2 NetGalley ARCs. I've had books sent to me by authors before, which is incredible. I absolutely love when authors send me books. I've actually got a few more that I need to read now as well, which are, they all tend to be quite short stories, which is fine by me because I need to catch up on my Goodreads reading challenge because I'm currently 3 behind, which isn't too bad. We've still got a few months to go, but it's very exciting that I've been accepted by publishers, Bloomsbury being one of them, on NetGalley. That is so exciting to me, and they are ones that I need to read this month. But before we get onto that, let me grab the books I was supposed to read last month because, as always, I tend to try and carry them over into this month. So let's see how well I did for last month. Obviously, I'll be going over these as in a proper review in my wrap-up, which will be coming out next Saturday, probably next Sunday. Let's have a look at these guys first. So here they are. They are really heavy, so I'm not holding them up for too long. But these are all the books I was supposed to read last month. The Kindle is there for the Gathering of Shadows by the Schwab book, and my headphones are there because audiobooks, which have been a bit of a failure recently, as you'll find out. So these are all the books I'm supposed to read. Let's flip this and take out all the books that I did read. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. I read the majority of the books that I wanted to read last month, which is incredible, and I am actually starting this one today. So technically, I did read most of my physical books, but I didn't finish my audiobook, and I didn't start my ebook either, which is a shame. But it's time to get filling this back up, so let's do this. So, library books. I haven't actually borrowed any, or haven't had any come through for this month, which is a good thing because I am trying to get through the books I already own. So my physical TBR, I've got a lot of ebooks as well I want to read. My Kindle is getting very stuffed full at the minute. I may have to do a challenge to try and read some of those at some point. But yes, no library books, but obviously audiobooks. If you've watched my channel at all, you know I am very gradually, listening to the Expanse series on audiobooks. So starting with The Fire from Wakes by James S.A. Corey, which I learned recently is actually 2 people, which is interesting. But I am still listening to Caliban's War, which is the second one. I am almost done now though, so obviously I'm signifying it with my headphones. I am almost done. I've got just over an hour left, so in theory, you should be hearing me reviewing this on my wrap-up next weekend because I listen to it when I do cleaning and going out for walks and things. I haven't really been going for many walks recently just because it's been, surprisingly, a little bit too hot in England. Very rare. I usually listen to it while I'm cleaning, and obviously I will be spending more of an hour cleaning this week, so in theory I should get that finished, and then I can finally move on to Abaddon's Gate, which is the 3rd book in the series. But before that, I have to listen to my ARC audiobook that I received. So this is called After the Forest by Kel Woods. I believe it's due out early in October, so I need to get it done next month, but I think it's a short story, so it shouldn't take me long to do, and then I can move on to Abaddon's Gate. But After the Forest is a sort of retelling of Hansel and Gretel, but 20 years in the future. Things aren't going great for the characters. Hansel, who's now known as Hans, he's in a lot of debt, and Gretel is also harbouring a secret from her time with the witch, which then causes a lot of issues throughout the story. So it's going to be very magical, very fancy-esque, but still got the fairy tale elements, I believe, but might be a little bit dark. So I'm definitely very excited for that, and it sounds like it'll be something that's right on my street. So we'll see what I think of that, and obviously, as I say, it's coming out, I think it's something like the 3rd of October, so I need to get that done next month. review it and then let you guys know if you need to read it too, because from the sounds of it, it sounds really exciting, really interesting, and something I would love to read. So I will let you know on that. And as well as that arc, I've also got an ebook that I've got to read, which is called Let Us Descend, and it's by Jasmine Ward. This is due out on the 24th of October, so I've got a little bit more time to read this. I've got almost 2 months. Yeah, so quite a lot of time to read this, but I think it's a short story. But this is a slave tale set in America, and basically you're following this slave woman who was sold by her white slave owner father, and as she's travelling between obviously her previous home and the new plantation she's moving to, she sort of goes into her own mind and creates her own sort of fantasy world to try and help her get through not only obviously the pain of losing her family and obviously also her father, even though he was probably a very awful man, from that previous plantation, and moving to this brand new unknown place where she doesn't know a single soul. She sort of makes up this world and falls into that on her journey, and it sounds really interesting. Probably will be quite heartbreaking like a lot of slavery stories are, but I quite like the fantasy element being brought into that. And I've read a few books with that sort of trope, would you call it trope, or concept, where when someone's going through a traumatic experience they sort of delve into their own minds and live a different world. I know that Woman on the Edge of Time is quite similar to that, although you don't know whether it's real or in her mind, or if she's going insane or what have you. That's a really good book, actually. I really recommend that. But yeah, it sounds really interesting. I believe it's published by Bloomsbury as well, so that's like even better. I was just like, Bloomsbury accepted me? They accepted me for an arc? Like, blimey. But yeah, I'm really excited to read that, and it's definitely going to be on my list for this month because I'd love to get it read, and obviously again let you know my thoughts before it comes out, so you can decide whether to try and buy it or not, as it may be. It looks really exciting. The cover is beautiful as well. Actually, the cover for After the Forest was also stunning. But yeah, very excited for those. But as well as arcs, I'm also a part of 2 separate book clubs now. So I've recently been invited by some girlies on Bookstagram. They might be watching this, probably won't be. They're more Bookstagrammers than booktubers or booktalkers. We have like a Discord group. Everyone reads quite differently. I'm the fantasy girlie in the group, although there's a few other girls who read fantasy alongside other genres, but most of them are romance or thriller readers, or even dark romance. They're reading like Haunted Adeline and things like that. That's not for me. That's not for me. We've got 2 books to read this month from that group. So the first one is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, which is a psychological thriller, which sounds right up my street. I like watching psychological thrillers. I've not really read that many. Most of the thrillers I read are quite cosy thrillers. So they'll be like Thursday Murder Club, things like that, or there'll be sci-fi thrillers like, like the Blake Crouch books, that sort of thing. I've not read a psychological, so I'm very curious. And it has been inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Was None, which is the one Agatha Christie I've actually read, but I really enjoyed that. So in this, you follow this family. They're not very close, and they've all come together onto this Cornish island. They're having sort of like a party thing there. And when the coast comes in, you can't leave the island, obviously. But on the island, there is a murderer, and you don't know if it's someone of the family or if it's someone separate. And obviously they're stuck on this island for the time until the tide goes out. So I think it's something like 8 hours. So yeah, I love these sort of thrillers that are all set in one place and you can't leave, and one of you within the group is the killer, but you don't know who. I love that sort of concept, so I'm very excited to read this. And then the other book, the romance book that they picked to read, is Hooked by Emily McIntyre, which I'm a bit scared about. It is a dark romance. It is a retelling of Peter Pan, and it follows 2 different characters who are enemies, and one kidnaps the other one's daughter, who is Wendy, and I think the romance is between them 2. Emily McIntyre's books are sort of books where the villain is the one that gets happy ever after, not the good guys. So yeah, we'll see what I think of that. I don't read much romance, let alone dark. I haven't read any dark romance before, so it might be interesting. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll read that and then go on to Haunted Adeline, but we'll see. And then my other book club that I'm a part of is a romance one. I'll put the name on the screen because I've completely forgotten it. Sorry, Brooke. But it's run by one of my book talk friends called Brooke, and she's lovely. She's mainly a fantasy reader as well, but she's trying to get into more romance. And for this month, she picked the book Faking with Benefits by Lily Gold, which is like a reverse harem story, which I've never read, but it's also got sort of fake dating elements, which is a romance trope that I really like. And this follows a woman who is undateable. She can't get any dates. She's 27, 28 years old, never been on a date. So to combat that, she starts fake dating her male roommates. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. But things get a bit spicy and she starts going further and further with each of them. And none of them know that she's gone further with the other ones. It sounds like it might be very messy, but it might be quite a fun read. So we'll see. And obviously, but all 3 of these I'm going to try and read on holiday as well. So we'll see how far I get with Hooked, because that might be a bit too dark to read on holiday, and probably even Daisy darker, but I'm sure they're ones that I'll fly through. So fingers crossed I'll get through all of them while I'm away. So ebooks, so all of them are ebooks. I won't be buying them physically. I can get some of them on Kindle Unlimited, which is what I'm planning on signing up for just for that month, depending on when I can get the others. But other than that, I did not get a chance to continue reading the Shades of Magic series. So the second one is Gathering of Shadows. So my plan is to read both that and the third one next month. I've got them both on Kindle, so obviously I'm taking my Kindle away with me, so we'll see if I can get to them while I'm away. But I need to get them both read because Fragile Threads of Power is coming out the end of September. So I need to get these read so I can then read Fragile Threads of Power in October. So we'll see. I will get to there. I will do it, hopefully. So, time for physical books. So obviously, as I said, I'm going on holiday. These are the 2 physical books I'm bringing with me. I don't really know too much what they're about. I loved Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm sure I will love these 2 as well. So yes, very excited to read them. And this one's literally called Beach Read. Where else am I supposed to read this? I can't read it in bed. I've got to read it on the beach. So these 2 are coming with me. They're not too long either. They look like they're about 300 pages, I will say. So I might even need to read these as a break between the dark romance, dark thriller books that I'm already planning on reading there. So yeah, got these 2. And then next month, I also really want to read The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I've only heard great things about this. This came out at the start of this year, so it is a new release. And it basically follows a pirate, an older female pirate who is trying to go into retirement, but she's been asked to do one last job to save someone before she retires. And that's where the story begins. And I believe this is the start of a new series, a new adult series. But Shannon Jacoborti has only written YA in the past, I believe, but I think she's done a really good, I've heard anyway, that she's done a really good job with this. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to get to this. When I bought this, I was like, I need to read this ASAP because it's very high up on my list to read. And it's quite big. It's quite big, but I'm sure I'll do all right. Obviously, I'm not bringing this away with me. I mean, probably would be perfect to sit there and read on the beach with this, but it's going to weigh a lot in my suitcase, isn't it? So maybe not. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to get to this, and hopefully we'll get to this month. As you'll know, if you've watched any of my other wrap-ups or TBRs recently, you'll know that I'm slowly reading the Grisha Verse series, starting with Shadow and Bone. I literally finished Siege and Storm today. So obviously next up will be Ruin and Rising, again hoping to get to this in September, to then finally, because this is the whole reason I'm doing this, to finally read Six of Crows in October, and then Crooked Kingdom in November, try and remember my months, and then I can go on to the King of Scars duology. The only reason I'm still reading these, I mean, they're not that bad, they're just not the best. I think all of them have been 3 stars so far. This probably will be again, although I have high hopes for the ending. I've watched a TV show, which probably doesn't help, so I sort of know some of the key twists that are going to happen, but maybe this one will be better. I did actually think that the second one was better written than the first one, so maybe she'll have really progressed quite well between that one and this one. But I've seen people say they can't believe that Leigh Bardugo wrote both the Shadow and Bone series and the Six of Crows series because it's so different. So even if I don't like this, I know I'm going to be reading Six of Crows. Like, it's inevitable. I love heist stories, so yeah, I need to get to this so that I can get to that. So that's on my TBR for September. I also collect the Illumicrate boxes, and I always aim to read the previous month's Illumicrate book in the next month. So you receive them at the end of each month. So August one I've just received, and that was Zara by S.J. Jones. Now this is so pretty. This is not the prettiest. Oh my god, I've got to show you. I've got to show you that. I'm sorry, but that is stunning. This is a new YA, I think it's YA, fantasy series, where you follow your main character, Zara. She lives in a world where magic has been forbidden, and magicians, or people that can wield magic, have been blamed for this plague of monsters attacking and killing people 20 years ago. and they are starting to come back again. And you follow Zara, and she's sort of having a bad time of it. She's very busy, she's very stressed. Her stepmum, I believe, or step-aunt, is giving her a lot of jobs to do, and yeah, she's just stressed out. And then one day she stumbles across this man who introduces her to this group of rebels who are fighting back against the administration, who are preventing them from using magic. And unbeknownst to her, the plague of monsters is starting to come back again. So this sounds so good, really interesting. It's not too long either from the looks of it. It's quite one of those short hardbacks. I don't think it would take me that long to read. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. It looks like it's probably Asian inspired. It's very like anime, the art style. So it should be good. And the author is apparently a New York Times best-selling author of the book Winter Song, which I've not heard of. But I'm sure this will just be incredible. It looks like it should be. So yeah, very excited to get to this one as well. And finally, speaking of the Luma Crate, so because in each box, they usually feature books. So in the items, they usually feature books that I've never heard of, or if I've heard of them, I haven't read them. So I'm trying to combat that by trying to get more up to date with a lot of the recent fantasy releases that may not have been up my alley, but I still want to read. So each of those that I pick out and I haven't read, I put in this tin. Or this bowl, which is also from a Luma Crate. The thing is, I've added from this box 2 books, one's a massive series and another is a big book. But I'm not particularly interested in reading this month just because of the sheer volume of books. One was the Mortal Instruments series, never read it, want to read it, but there's something like 16 books there now, which I'm like, it's the one I don't want to pick. And The Priory of the Orange Tree as well, which I do want to read, and that was featured in this beautiful mug with this stunning dragon and this artwork. So pretty. But it's so long, I really don't want to read it next month. I want to save it more for the winter, maybe. I did finish Day of Fallen Night this month, so in August. So I wanted a little bit of a break before I read it again. So I'm just, if I pick out either of these 2, I might even stick them back in again and be a bit cheeky. But we'll see. So let's see what I get. There's quite a lot in there now. And I am mixing. Oh, and I'm going to read that one that I just yeeted at myself. Hopefully it's one that I own already. Oh, it's one I added this month. Sorcery of Thorns. Okay, I can give that a read. I think that's fantasy romance. I literally saw a TikTok today of someone saying basically their favourite funny fantasy books, and they put this in there. Not that they're comedy books, but bits that she's laughed at in the fantasy books. So yeah. Guess I'm reading Sorcery of Thorns this month, so I better go buy that because I don't actually own it. So hopefully it will go on Kindle 99p deals this month. I think that's a series as well. Hopefully it's only duology. I'm starting way too many series, aren't I? It's not a good thing. So that's my TBR. I just counted, I've got 14 books to read this month. Whoops. I'm hoping that I can read, 3 of them technically are audiobooks, one of which I should finish this month, so maybe that cuts it down by 1. And I am planning on trying to read like 5 books on holiday. If I can just sit there and sunbathe all day long, in theory I should be able to read all day long as well until we go out in the evening. So I might be okay. I might be okay. Maybe I will stick more of them into audiobook. God, I'll give myself way too much of a night. But it's fine. Let's see how I do. Cheer me on, everyone. Cheer me on. I can't do anything else this month other than read, apparently. I've got to cancel all my plans other than the holiday. But yes, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and let me know what books are on your TBR for September as well. We're going into the colder months. We've got more time to read, in theory. So let me know what you're planning on reading. And yes, I will speak to you in the next video. Goodbye.